5.5 months and 100 videos, and it all started back in 2019. At that time, I had a lot of DIY videos, and it wasn't until June of 2022 that I decided to make a change, and I'd unlisted over 90% of my DIY videos. Remember that. And so I ended up switching niches to Elon Musk, which eventually changed to tech and space. It's a whole mess. But either way, after 100 videos, this right here, what I'm about to show you, is gonna blow your mind. So over here, I made a spreadsheet of all the analytics for the 100, technically 104 videos. That includes the click-through rate, average percentage viewed, views, 30-second retention, notes, revenue, and RPM. So it took me a while to actually finally change the introduction, which was don't include subscribe, don't include comment, like, whatever, any of that stuff, just because that would hurt retention. And so after I made that change, things started looking up. They started looking a little bit better, but it still wasn't the best. And so I decided to make even more changes. The introduction speed, they're a bit faster and faster paced and had a bunch of clips in the beginning. And so that also started helping. I also want to make some graphs to see if there's any correlations. And right here, as you see, although all of these data points are all over the place, what I realized is there is a trend line of click-through rate. As more videos were posted, the click-through rate got better, which is good, just because that means at least all the thumbnails were progressively getting better. Although you can see there's a lot of outliers, like right over here. My 68th video had a 13.6% click-through rate, while my 17th video had a 1.1%. But even looking over here, even my 98th video still had a 2.6%, so nothing was still consistent. But overall, the trend was looking upwards, which is a good thing. And then looking over here, you can see the average percentage viewed for the videos. So you could see as the videos increased, the APV also increased, hence this trend line over here. But of course, it wasn't all gonna be consistent. I mean, you could see right here, there's an outlier. My 34th video had a 45.2% click-through rate, 35th video was literally 18.9. So it wasn't always steady, but the overall trend was moving in an upward direction. And then there were some random spots too, like even after 88 videos, I still managed to get a 17.8 retention. But then my 100th video was 53.3. The trend line is still moving upward, so that means it's getting better and better over these past 5.5 months. Now I also wanted to take a look at the 30-second retention graph, and right here you can see it's kind of flat. I mean, it is a slight increase, so there has been some improvement, but overall it's not much. But it's still something. I mean, here you could see, you know, one of the lowest ones was a 36 retention for 30 seconds. And then even afterwards, even after 88 videos, one was still 41%. Although, you know, there are a lot of these outliers still, some improvements still have been made, which is good to see. And I also want to see if there's a correlation between the average percentage viewed and the 30-second retention. And right here, you could see there is literally a direct correlation with it. If more people watch the 30 seconds, odds are they're going to watch more of the video, which naturally makes sense. But I just want to go ahead and see this play out on actual data. And there are some spots where that always isn't the case. For example, right here, this one had a higher 30-second retention, yet had a lower APV than this one, which had a lower 30-second retention. But overall, based on the data, it does say that if more people watching to the 30-second mark, then more people are going to watch a higher percentage viewed of the video. I don't know if I said that right, but these numbers don't lie, at least for my stats. And this is where things start to fall apart, the 30-second retention versus views. Because as you can see here, there's one big outlier over here, and then all of these are just combobulated together. And this one right here did get a 67% 30-second retention, and this one also got the most views at 11,000. But even so, even looking at the first couple of videos, like right over here, this one had a 68%. So it's literally above the one that got the most views. But this only got 266 views. And then there's a bunch of those just in this range over here. And it's a huge range, mainly because they didn't get a lot of views. And I think a good reason for this would be it's not guaranteed. And by that I mean, just because you get a good 30-second retention doesn't mean you're going to get a lot of views. But I think it'll work the other way around, which is if you get a lot of views, odds are your 30-second retention is going to be better than average. And another place where this kind of falls short too is going to be average percentage viewed versus views. So just because somebody watches a huge percentage of a video doesn't mean you're going to get a lot of views. And this can be told like right over here. My most viewed video had a 40.7% average percentage viewed, and yet some of my first videos had much higher views, 44.3, 44.5, even 53.2%. And of course there was the opposite outliers, like right over here. This one had a 15.7% average percentage viewed, but it literally got the second most amount of views. So keep in mind, this is completely subjective. This is only my opinion. This is what I'm seeing from my results. These were the results for October: 99,000 views, 2.3 thousand watch hours, 407 subscribers, 185.58 in revenue. And then November, here it is. Now there is some good news, because in the whole month of November, views increased, but that's not the whole thing, because something different happened in November. And that was shorts. That's when I decided to go ahead and just post a lot more shorts. And it originally started in the last week of October, but it didn't really make a significant dent at all, because it literally was just like the last few days of it. But now it started being a lot more consistent. And the thing I noticed in November is that as I posted more and more shorts, it seemed like the channel was kind of dying, not in views but in revenue, because looking at over here, right over here at the bottom, you could see all the videos that were posted, and then you could see the revenue. And then right over here, one of my highest days in November was $9.77, which is literally less than half of what my highest day in October was. And then my lowest day was 88 cents. That's a huge difference. And then, I mean, you could see there's these peaks, but each peak got lower and lower. 977, 823, 682, 402, until eventually flatline, which is when I stopped posting, basically. And so for the whole month of November, I ended up making $102.95, which was a little upsetting just because I thought it would be more, because it seemed like each month was increasing more and more, and then this month just died down a little bit more. Now here's the thing. So during the month of November, although it did increase, I don't want to blame shorts for that too, because during that month, that's when I also started to make a little bit more of a switch. Instead of talking about the general space topics that were being talked about the previous month, I wanted to talk about slightly different topics that I found a little bit more interesting. And it was sort of some mystery type stuff, a little bit of alien stuff too. And on top of that, I was also mixing in shorter ideas. And during that month, I ended up posting about 4 or 5 videos that were about 5 minutes long, as opposed to the regular videos that were like 8 or 10 minutes long. And this did help originally with retention, but I didn't see that correlate with more views. And so finally, for the month of December, that's when I literally stopped posting. And you could see that over here. I mean, you could see the huge downward trend in views, but there's still a consistent view base here, mainly because I still have some DIY videos that are ranking in search, and so I'm still consistently getting roughly, I guess, 1,600, 1,500 views a day just based on those videos. But yeah, that's basically what happened for the whole 5.5 months there. Watch time increased, didn't get as many subscribers. My revenue obviously has decreased significantly, so there it is there. And so after those 5.5 months and over 100 videos later, there was a few things that I learned and some takeaways that I'm taking away from it that I'm implementing in the next channel that I'm actually starting. And the first one being research, because when I first started off, I did like Elon Musk stuff, and I still do, but I didn't do enough research to realize that, hey, maybe this isn't a good topic, just because there were just so many other channels working on the same stuff, and I saw big channels that weren't getting that many views. And what I later realized is that a bunch of the big channels in Elon Musk weren't getting a lot of views. Yes, they might have had a lot of subscribers, but their view count to subscriber ratio wasn't the best. Let's say they had like 500,000 subscribers, but they were only getting like 5 or 10,000 views. That didn't seem like something that was sustainable. And so that's when I decided to go ahead and make the switch to space, because I was seeing space channels succeed, even small space channels succeeding. They had a couple thousand subscribers, but they were getting far more views, and I just saw more potential in space. But the thing is, I should have done better research in the beginning, because space wasn't something I liked. I would prefer to at least be in something that I can do or I like. And so if I did that from the beginning, if I did that from the start, I would have chosen something completely different. Second thing I would have done is just start a little bit slower. So I was trying to go as fast as possible and start, and I was honestly just being impatient because I wanted to put a lot of content and a lot of things out there. And although that is a good thing, it did prevent me from doing some things, which was basically checking over some of the work more thoroughly. Although yes, I did look at some scripts originally, I started being lazy and just stopped looking at them. As far as the videos being made, I was looking at them, I thought they were okay, but I wasn't really comparing to the videos that were actually doing good there. And so my video quality and the way it was made didn't go up to par to what the other videos were like. Next thing I realized is that I should have analyzed my data a lot sooner, because it took me over 30 videos to realize that, hey, maybe I shouldn't ask the viewer to subscribe. Maybe I shouldn't ask them to comment right in the first 15 seconds, because you know what that caused? That caused a spike in retention, and not the good kind of spike, the downward spike. And so that was honestly really stupid, really dumb of me, really ignorant. And so I realized my mistake, and that's something I'm not taking lightly anymore. Lesson learned on my end, but yeah, it was just really dumb, and I'm just really disappointed that I didn't look at it sooner. And speaking of intros, next thing I realized is that having shorter intros, having fast-paced intros work a lot better for retention. And although that wasn't always the case in the data, for the most part, it did work. And so that's something I should have implemented a lot sooner. I did implement maybe like 2 months later, but by then I already spent so much money on previous videos, so it's like I could have made these changes a lot sooner. And so that's another thing that I'm also taking into account. I'm even trying to do it in this channel too. Lesson learned. But yeah, that's it for that channel. It looks like it's probably on its deathbed, so it'll be, you know, going out soon. But if you guys are interested in seeing that channel, 420 likes and 69,000 views, I'll release the channel name.